Hello, ladies and gentlemen, I am Traian Stoyanov, and we continue our cycle of interviews with the ambassadors of the European countries accredited in Chisinau. And we are talking about the European pathway of the Republic of Moldova. Today we are very happy and honored to have with us Katarina Fried, Ambassador of Sweden.
Hello, Ms. Fried. Welcome and thank you for accepting our invitation. And congratulations, it's a special day for Sweden. It's Sweden's National Day.
Bună ziua, and thank you for having me. Yes, it's very much a special day for us.
We are curious how actually Sweden celebrate this day. It's we are talking about big parties and or it's just a normal day, a day off.
Well, it's actually not been a day off for very long in Sweden. It's a quite recent phenomena. So we're still figuring out what to do best of this day, but so I think for us it's an extra holiday in the beginning of the Swedish summer, which is usually very lovely. And it's also the time where the schools are ending in Sweden, so an extra day also to celebrate that. So not so many particular events. It's not like the 4th of July or anything that you do in Norway, but we are finding our ways. You can find statements from our Prime Minister to the people. You will have events with the King and the Queen and the royal families gathering, but mainly I think most families are enjoying the day off, having a barbecue if the weather allows, and just socialize.
Well, sounds great. And now we will talk a little bit about Moldova, about our European progress. The Republic of Moldova has taken significant steps in the EU integration process, and it's getting closer to the big European family. What are the priority areas for reform in the Republic of Moldova, and what are Sweden's recommendations?
Well, first of all, I have to say that Moldova has done some really good progress in the reform implementation and very well ahead on the EU integration path. For us, we see that this is also happening at the same time as your country is challenged by the Russian hybrid attacks, which makes it even more impressive. From the Swedish side, we really like to see that this process is going forward and going well. We are looking forward to start the negotiations on EU membership and having the intergovernmental conference that is going to be the formal kickoff of the negotiations as soon as possible. Of course, when that starts, it's the real hard work that will begin, both for Moldova and us in the EU, to make further progress. What to look at here, I think, to continue to follow up on the recommendations from the Commission, in particular the areas that there have been a lot of priority already on judicial reform, on the anti-corruption and the oligarchization, a hard word that is.
Yeah, it's a hard word.
Yes, but it's very important to focus on. And I think, of course, this journey is going to be including a lot of difficult decisions for Moldova going forward, but as a country that has been through it, I have to say that it's worth it. But the most important thing is to remember that this is not something that you are doing for the EU or for anyone in Brussels. This is for Moldova and for bringing EU to be a part of Moldova and bringing Moldova as a part of the EU.
Together with the EU, Sweden co-finances numerous projects in the Republic of Moldova, and these projects focus on social enterprises, ecology, energy efficiency, development, support for needy youth, and more. What is the financial value and impact of this support on our country, and can we be confident that this support will continue in the coming years, let's say?
Well, Sweden, we consider ourselves to be a long-term partner to Moldova. We've been here since the 1990s, and we are looking forward to many more years of close partnership. Since the Russian full-scale aggression against Ukraine, which has also, of course, have had some really serious challenges here in Moldova, we have more than doubled our support to Moldova. Of course, Ukraine is also growing into being one of the biggest receptions of support, even when it comes to military support or whether it's financial support or humanitarian support going forward. But we see Moldova as part of this bigger picture and also like to be here to support. So we have a bilateral reform cooperation that is managed here by the embassy, and it's in the amount of 327 million lei last year. In addition to that, we had a little bit more than 500 million lei that we invested in vulnerable households to help them out with the energy situation, and as well as investment in energy efficiency means. In addition to that, we are supporting Moldova through our contributions to the EU and the UN family that they are investing here, as well as the development banks. So we are trying to engage in the most appropriate channel in different ways. And we will definitely continue to stand by Moldova on the way to the EU integration processes. This is something that has been a red line in all our support for quite some time, and it's just been intensified by the very quick processes that is ongoing right now. So we are working with a strategy at the moment that is covering up to 2027, and after that we will foresee a new strategy. So definitely long term.
We recognize that European integration is essential for Moldova's development. However, a part of our the remains kind of uncertain and undecided. How should the government or the authorities communicate with the citizens to convince them that European integration is essential for a better quality of life?
Well, from a Swedish perspective, we really see that Moldova is part of the European family. And we would like to see Moldova also as a full-fledged EU member state. But this is not our decision to make. It's the Moldovan people that needs to take that decision. And I think that the referendum that you're holding here in October will be an excellent opportunity for everyone to get to use their voice and let it be heard. And I do hope that everyone will take this opportunity, regardless whether they are in supportive of the decision to join the European Union or not, because democracy is about expressing your views in this regard. I think it's very important that when you do this, that the population has access to information, that they can make a decision based on facts and knowledge, and not being pushed by fear or disinformation. And this is, of course, critical. And here, in the challenging landscape we have, information landscape we have today, of course, there is also an opportunity for authorities to assist in this matter. I think it's important. My recommendation would be to be very transparent in what's happening, trying to explain what's happening, try to explain what the choice actually means for everyone, in particular for the persons, what it means on the ground, in the villages, in the cities, what would be these changes, and how would it impact on ordinary days' lives. And try to also respond to some of the myths that we see that the Russians in particular are trying to use to discredit the EU or the integration process as a whole, because I think it's important that we already have a clear idea what they are choosing between. In the end, it will come down to not only convincing the minds, and also going to be convincing the hearts of the people of Moldova. And for the country with such a big heart as Moldovans have, I really do hope that they will feel that they belong in the European Union, where we are working together in solidarity to have peace, prosperity, sustainable development, and diversity at the same time. So I hope that they would like to be part of that.
I hope too. But there is a hard and a sensible subject in our society. It's about Russian propaganda. How can Moldovan authorities combat this propaganda, and what action is needed?
It is a difficult situation, and it's not difficult only in Moldova. I think this is something we see across the board. The Russian propaganda is everywhere, and we need to have concerted efforts to try to stand and be resilient against it. I think there's a lot of things that the individuals can do themselves. They can try to be aware. I think awareness is the key here to go forward. What's happening and why things are happening. It's good to have a very high degree of media and digital literacy. It's good to have a variety of sources where you collect your information. And of course, when it then comes to different kinds of cyber attacks, it's also good to know basic knowledge that you shouldn't click on links you don't know where they're leading to, and so forth. And in this, of course, the authorities can help citizens to get this kind of resilience with education on what is going on, but also, again, transparency, trying to explain what's happening, and try to sort out why things are happening as well. So more campaigns trying to explain in a very factual way what everything is about, but also when there come these myths that the Russians are trying to create, that we try to sort things out, go down to the basics and what's actually happening, what are the realities and what are the facts, and make a decision on that.
Now, Your Excellency, one of the most important roles in this integration process is the media. And how can exactly the media support this process?
Well, as to authorities, I think media has a key role in enlightening people on what's going on. Going down to the facts, try to see what's behind the information that is coming our way, but also explaining what the EU is all about, and ask the critical questions, not only the polite questions. Ask the questions that the people out in the village are asking about the EU, so we get the opportunity to reply, and they get the answers they need to make up their own mind whether this is a good thing or not. So a very high qualitative reality check from with the help of our media, I think, would be very helpful going forward, but not shying away from also from the challenges. So give a fair picture of what you would be heading to, whether you go for the becoming an EU member.
Now I would like to ask you about Sweden, about your experience, which cultural or traditional or maybe economic or sport elements have become symbols of Sweden in the EU. I ask you because some voices express concern that European integration might lead to the country losing its identity.
I don't think we have lost any of our identity by joining the European Union. We still have our peculiarities. We have Midsummer to Santa Lucia as our culture events. We celebrate all our athletes when they are doing well. We are, of course, happy with the artists that are coming from Sweden and very proud of them, like Loreen and others that has been on the international arena. And I also think that if I say Sweden to you, you get a very different picture in your head instead of, for instance, if I say Germany or Romania. I don't think that there is any question that you would not be able to distinct between us, even if we are all parts of the European Union. And of course, this is really the core of what the European Union is. One of our mottos is that we are united in our diversity. I mean, this is the real reason is not that we are going to become one and be the same when we are in the EU, but actually that we are going to work together to ensure that our cultures and the differences we have can coexist in peace and build a society that is prosperous and sustainable as well as peaceful going forward. That's the real thing that and the challenge of getting together and making all this culture flourish even together, but not being the same.
I understand. Having been in the Republic of Moldova for almost 3 years as head of the diplomatic mission, what local places or maybe dishes have you managed to love and be close to?
Oh, I have had the pleasure of visiting large parts of the country, from the north to the south and east to the west. There are still places to discover for me, and I'm really looking forward to that. What's I really discovered is the people. I mean, the Moldovan people is such an amazing group.
There is such a big difference between Sweden people and the Moldova?
I think actually we're quite alike in many things, but I think what stands out for me with Moldovan people is that they are hardworking, they are really creative, and they really have a big heart. The hospitality here is amazing. I'm not sure we are as hospitable as the Moldovan people, but I would like us to be. And when it comes, of course, to what you have to offer in addition, when it comes to food, for instance, you have a great agriculture sector, which is offering a lot of good products for us. The wine industry is making now an entry even more in our Systembolaget, which is the wine monopoly in Sweden. We're looking forward to get to know more brands also there. But for me personally, I think it's been, for instance, the placintas. I'm a big fan of placintas. I found some dried apple dipped in chocolate. I'm a really sucker for sweets that I really love. You have a lot of good dried food. And I've been told it's not a traditional Moldovan dish, but not maybe a dish, but a beverage. But I do see that you have excellent lemonades. And this is something I think you really could be able to export. Very healthy and nice, tasty lemonades as well.
Can we say that you are going to miss a lot Moldova when your diplomatic mission will end?
Oh, luckily it's not in the near future, but yes, I will miss Moldova, and I will definitely come back for more when I get back to a next posting.
Ms. Fried, thank you very much for this interview and for these advices. It's very important for us. I hope that we will meet each other again, and we wish you a nice day, and thank you one more time.
Thank you so much.
Dear friends, we had with us the Ambassador of Sweden in the Republic of Moldova, Mrs. Katarina Fried. We discussed about the European pathway of the Republic of Moldova, and we also listened very carefully of the recommendations done very generously by Mrs. Fried. Thank you for your attention, and see you next time.